You recently picked up a rare, but many would say non-traditional punk.
Wait, why do you think people would say non-traditional?
I mean, it doesn't look anything like you.
It's more like, what is my spirit animal? And I feel like that's where the punk clown green eyeshadow
clown. My name is Ryan Zurrer. I've been in crypto for a long time and an early supporter of many projects from Ethereum to MakerDAO to Polychain Capital and a range of others. I'm here with Mike Beeple Winkelmann, obviously, the standard bearer of digital art today, and and leader in all things in the crossover between digital art and NFTs. Do you remember the first time we met?
There was a piece in 2021, like a couple months after the sale. I did another sale with Nifty.
Yeah.
And there was a few, like four one-of-ones auctioned off during that sale. And one of the one-of-ones was a piece called Dick Milking Factory. And Ryan bought it, and it was just like, oh, what the fuck? Like, who, like, fucking bought this thing? Like, I gotta fucking meet this guy. Yeah. I gotta meet this guy or whatever. And so we jumped on a, like, Zoom call, and it was just, immediately I could tell that you had just, like, a much more long-term vision, and we're approaching the space much more thoughtfully and carefully than most people, and trying to discern how you could add value to it rather than extract value to it, which unfortunately is quite rare in this space. And so then obviously after Human One, since then we've obviously worked together a ton on trying to get this in museums and trying to educate people around this piece and stuff. And so it's been, amazing and inspiring to me to see the just massive amount of, like, dedication and belief that you have in sort of, like, furthering this digital art and this, crypto culture and sort of, really helping people have that sort of, like, aha moment around it.
It was interesting because we hit it off so well in that moment, and then, like, kind of going back and forth and chatting on WhatsApp, that I could just tell that, like, okay, like, we get each other. And when I decided to buy Human One, it really was about, kind of buying into this relationship for the next, like, 30 plus years. That, like, this is a guy who I can now embark on this, like, long journey with, and it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
And, I've been just overjoyed with it ever since.
Well, I think that's what's very interesting, because when you see these large purchases in the space, like, there's so many people who are like, why did you do that? But the amount that it changes people's minds around things is, like, astronomical. Because again, look at the Christie sale or whatever.
Yeah.
2 people pretty much decided to go ape shit that day. And those 2 people changed the way everybody in the world thinks about NFTs.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's, like, super crazy to me about this. And then everybody was like, wait, what did those 2 people do? And, like, took notice of this. And I think that's what's very crazy and very, like, honestly inspiring about people in your position who are, like, collectors, who are like, I'm gonna take a fucking big swing here. I'm going to take a big swing and change everybody's, like, minds on this shit, because those things really do push things forward.
Yep. Both of our punks are now on Human One.
That's true.
Why did you, what made you decide to memorialize these punks on Human One?
So the idea for adding things to the backpack actually came from you with the stickers on the museums. And then after you bought the hoodie punk, it was like, oh, that would be funny to put the, like, punk on there too. And to me, that's it's an exciting thing to do, because I brought that artwork into this other artwork, and it's kind of like almost like remixing it in a sense, but it's also bringing in artwork that the curators of the museum did not okay. Like, they weren't just like, okay, let me look over everything here. It was just like, it just uploaded and now it's got a punk on it or whatever. And so to me, that's really exciting too, to be able to like bring in different projects and see them. And so to me, it was like, you know, a fun thing to sort of like, you know, give a nod to like your identity or whatever. And then I think it's just also, you know, was a fun way to just give, you know, respect to them as well.
CryptoPunks have shown up in everydays as well as Human One dozens of times. And can you talk a bit about how Matt and John's project with CryptoPunks has influenced your own process as an artist?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, to be honest, like when I learned of NFTs, which again was only in late 2020, this was obviously one of the first projects that I heard about. And to me, it was such a radically new just idea for art that it was just so exciting to me, and such a crazy thing. And like, I mean, none of us would be here. I wouldn't be here without this project. I mean, these are the guys that, you know, pretty much wrote the book for what an NFT is. So again, like, I owe a ridiculous amount to their work or whatever. And all of the things and seeing what has come from it, from, you know, PFPs and stuff is crazy. It's insane. And so it's massively, massively changed how I think about art. And I think that will, like, when more people get that, they will have the same impression of how revolutionary this artwork was.
That's really one of the things that I find so compelling about CryptoPunks, is that it's a very simple and straightforward way to communicate your online identity, right? That there are a series of traits that you can have affinity towards, either because they look like you, or, you know, because aspirationally they don't look like you and you want to be something totally different online. And you're able to just really simply communicate this as your online identity, which, you know, is then more personal to the individual. And as a result, it becomes less of a speculative asset and more of something that like is really, you know, tied to their identity. Sure. And then extends beyond your online identity and just becomes like part of your identity.
100%. And I think about too, like your hoodie, and then the pixelated hoodie or whatever. And it's like you're dressing up in real life like a virtual character that does not exist. And so I think the way these things bleed into real life and affect how we think about our own identity, I think that will continue to sort of, you know, I am my ape, I am my punk or whatever. I think that will continue to play out in very interesting ways.
If you could describe the story of CryptoPunks in one or two sentences, what would it be?
A new type of art thing.
So I'll say
real bad. My sentence was real bad.
Pixel art community project that appeals to crypto native values because of its use of crypto primitives, as well as a certain level of nostalgia for our generation.
100%. Yeah, I think that's a thing that's like also like missed too, is like the 8-bit look of it. Like that's what we grew up with. That's the aesthetic that we grew up. And I think, again, zooming out, who else has like captured that aesthetic in contemporary art in such a strong conceptual way? No, I'm sorry.
What is your all-time single favorite punk trait?
If I had to pick one trait, I guess I would probably say clown nose. I feel like that's the same.
Good one.
What about you?
The hoodie is a really interesting trait because of how it has become this sub community, and
how many hoodies are there?
240 or something like that, like lots, right? It's like the equivalent of like Big Beard or something, like a pretty standard trait, but it's a very sought after and now very expensive trait because that sub community are real players.
And
right?
That's what I think is cool,
and that's cool
too. That it's like, yeah, that's cool that it's like, it's not the most real thing, but you have such a strong community around it. Like, they've made it one of the most real
for
things.
Sure.
That to me is like super exciting too.
You recently picked up a rare, but many would say non-traditional punk yourself.
Wait, why do you think people would say non-traditional?
I mean, it doesn't look anything like you.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
The clown traits are,
true,
again, rare, but
not super rare.
Yeah, not super rare, but some clown traits are kind of more, more popular than others. Some certainly are not that popular.
Yeah, I think I was looking at it more, not so much like, what do I physically look like, which to me is like, who gives a shit? It's more like, what is my spirit animal? And I feel like that's where the punk, clown, green,
Mohawk
eyeshadow,
clown.
It was like, as I was looking through them and everybody was giving me all this advice, it's, oh, you gotta blah, 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 and I was just kind of like,
During that process, are you not like shocked at the deep level of detail that people go to on quantitative analysis?
Shit,
like just full on like punk quants.
Yeah.
Right. Like full on like data scientist punk.
And that, to me, again, those are the things that show the like strength of the community, that certain people would go that freaking crazy hard on it. Like, that to me is like super inspiring, seeing somebody just nerd out to that level where it's like, oh my God, guy, like, take a shower. What the fuck are you talking about here? And yeah, it was definitely, I was trying to make something, or I was trying to find one that had very distinct features that I could, I knew I was going to use it a lot in like everydays or whatever. Something that was really sort of like recognizable versus like one that looked like me. Okay, it's sort of like, it wouldn't be like.
So in my case, because I recently sort of bought what will be my forever punk as well. Different from you, I did want it to look like me. I'm hilariously white, so the albino was the only way to go. And then obviously like a beard, and my team always kind of refers us to being a pirate ship. So the pirate patch was logical.
Funny.
But it's cool how everybody has their own process of like, do I want this associated with my traits and its traits? Or do I want to be this complete like fantasy in my digital identity? So we're here in this unbelievable community space that you've built to bring your community together. Can you talk a little bit about how the authenticity and sort of unique nature of the CryptoPunks community has informed your own approach to community and how you want to build your community and this community generally?
Yeah, I think to me, I look at it as when, I just recently went to the brunch that they had in Korea there, and it was like, there was way more people than I thought were going to be at this like brunch thing or whatever. And I think the passion that you see around this project and the true belief and understanding of its historical relevance, I think really sets it apart from a lot of the other communities that don't have that.
Yeah.
They're brand new IP, and to be honest, most of the IP is, again, based on the concept that CryptoPunks, sort of like started. And so when we just opened this space earlier this year, and wanted it to be something where we brought a bunch of different communities together and explored different things. And so to me, it was always like, CryptoPunks is the thing that started all of this. And so, we got to do that as the first sort of like community. And so,
I think that's like really it, that originality bred authenticity, and then the authenticity has bred the strength of the community around it, right? Like, this was not done as a money-making scheme.
No, and that's what to me makes it like so much more exciting too, that this was given away for free, no royalties, no expectations, just pure love of like creation. That to me is what like really makes it sort of like completely bulletproof.
For sure.
From like a criticism perspective. It's like, guys, you can't act like this. And this is like well before like any of this speculation. And just like, it's also hard for me to like even wrap my head around at the time they had to create the marketplace because there were no marketplaces, because NFTs weren't even like a thing.
Yeah.
And so it's the amount of innovation around it, I think, is just like people are still kind of sleeping on a little bit, I think.